how we can choose or finally determine our research interest?
So I really like that we use direction here, your research direction, because our journeys are not about the destination. Everybody knows it's about the journey, and your direction means that when you're walking around and you're trying to find your directions, you're always going to take a moment and like look at your map and like reference back and see what's going on. And I think that's what your research journey is about. It's about not being so bogged down in what your expectations are, but being able to take a minute, and because that's what I'm learning. I'm super still new to graduate school, but I'm learning that you're always supposed to revisit your question. When you read some more and you learn some more and you learn different tools, skills, softwares, you go back to your question. Maybe you want to adjust it. For me, my research direction has changed very much so, because I didn't even think I was going to go into research. So that's a big pivot. But I started off in agriculture. My bachelor's degree is in agriculture. I was introduced to GIS through the College of Agriculture and identifying how we can use GIS tools in a way that I had never been exposed to before. And so I think personally, I think we get really nervous about what to choose, how to choose it. And it's probably because we don't know what our options are. Like you don't know exactly what the right thing for you is, because in reality, there's limitless. But I know today we're talking about GIS and cartography, but even in such a niche field, there's so many things and so many applications and so many reasons why you're pursuing this research. And not everybody has the privilege of completely, absolutely loving what they do. But I think that's one of the most kind of important things to at least achieve, to try and strive for, because it makes it really hard to push through those tough times when you don't remember why you're doing these things. So I think really understanding why you're here and why you're doing it, even if it's just to acquire skills. I feel like that's a really big part of my program right now. I am acquiring a lot of skills, and that's my why. I'm like, why am I here? I'm getting a lot of skills. I'm getting a lot of skills and I'm growing my mind, and that's a very good reason for me to be here. And the research is a perk because it is very interesting to me. It really kind of hits a bit home for me. And so it's important. But I'm still developing my fully fledged research question. That's still happening. And I'm still referring back to what I understand and what I understood before. And I'm allowing myself that space to readjust your direction, how you're walking around and you're navigating through a place and you got to like reference the map. I think it's really important to always reference it, because these things are serious and they're a super big deal, and they definitely are major life decisions. That is very, very true. But it's about the journey. And with research, especially with PhD programs, you kind of have a bit of flexibility to kind of really fine tune the product of your dissertation to what matters the most to you. Even if you are kind of limited in resources, if you're creative, you can totally make it happen. So I think my contribution to this question about how do you choose your research direction is being open to that changing a little. Not a lot, but just a little. Give yourself that wiggle room to readjust, and reference your maps, everybody.
I completely agree with everything Anissa said. And I'll just reiterate that there is like maybe more flexibility than it perhaps seems from the outside. Like just speaking from personal experience, like my specific topic for like my master's thesis changed like a few times before I settled on something that I actually like did. And like this has been like my first year of my PhD. Like it's been completely exploratory in terms of like what direction specifically do I want to go in. Like I've read a lot, starting to focus that in a little bit. But like, especially with a PhD, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. Sometimes master's programs, I feel like maybe a little more of a like condensed timeline. Maybe it needs to be a little more focused, but especially when you get to PhD level, like time is something that you are given. And like the projects are big. So, you have the opportunity to like really figure out what you want to do. And like, even when you're applying, like, I think maybe the next question is kind of about this, but like generally you want to like put some research interest in your personal statement, but like that can change. Absolutely. Like that is not something that is set in stone. And like even what you do your first semester of grad school may not be what you end up doing the next semester or in the future. And so like, don't ever feel like you are locked into a particular direction from the start. And like, if you have a good advisor, like they'll be accommodating for like your, because they're supposed to support like your interest and your direction. So like, if you're someone who is like, oh, I can't really decide what I want to do, like your advisor can help you kind of guide towards a direction. If you're someone who's just like changes their mind and decides to go in a different direction, like you have a good advisor, they'll support that. if they might also like question and like make sure that you're making a good decision, but like I think that there is always going to be flexibility, and like it's really just important trying to figure out like where you want to go with your scholarship, and like depends a bit on your career goals and your personal interests. But I think I think that it all kind of it is definitely much more malleable than it seems from the outside.
I think all the valuable feedback that you guys have already given is like super important. And for my particular journey, I think I will define this as very systematic for me, but it's not. It's not. It will sound like that, but it's actually very open and flexible. I think for me, there were 3 important processes that helped me define my research direction, which is iterative. It means it's a cycle, and then you learn, and then you apply the cycle again, right? So the first one is motivation. And I think this is the most important thing that you should ask yourself, right? What topics you like the most? And also, which ones are you interested in? What areas motivate you and excite you? This is something that you're going to wake up every day and do for 4 years or more in your PhD. So if you're motivated and interested about it, it will make your life so much easier, even when the time is not easy at all. So I think motivation is the first thing. Selecting something that inspires you and pushes you to learn new approaches and tools is essential. Then the second process that I think helped me to select my research interest is research novelty. This is very important for me, and I recommend you guys to consider this. And what I mean by that is what research approach will help you gain critical skills that will be then valuable later on when you are seeking for job opportunities. Like learning the latest techniques and softwares, programming languages, innovative methods that can bring some novelty to science. That was the second thing I think it was very important for me. And then the third is what I call learning by doing guidance. What does that mean? Well, for me, it means, you have to put your hands on and work. What does that mean? If you don't know what you want, well, let's start trying helping someone else, help other students in their research, help your advisor in his projects or her projects, help writing grant proposals, do some literature review. When you are doing all these things, you will get so much information bump at you, and then something will sound like a song for you. It will be, oh, okay, this is the music that I would like to dance. You will get that message from some of those topics that you're being exposed to. So this learning by doing guidance, just try to test, you in a proposal writing, in a literature research or review, working in a project, do these things, and then you will find this particular interest in yourself. What is the thing that will change your mindset and give you then motivation, and then you can add novelty to it. So for me, I will just summarize that, find something that motivates you, find something that gives you novelty and valuable skills that you can later on in your life use for your job search, and then, learning by doing.
So I think this is one of the toughest questions. Still, I'm in second year of my PhD. I'm still suffering on it. So based on my understanding, like choosing a research direction is a significant decision that requires, kind of careful consideration of what Mariam mentioned. So based on my last 2 years experiences, I think like particularly me, or I can suggest like we need to follow some systematic and chronological steps, So what Mariam mentioned, like explore your interest based on my understanding, like start by reflecting on your personal interests, passions, and curiosities. These are the first things, and motivation, of course. So consider the aspects of, let's say, GIS or cartography that captivate you the most. And are you interested in spatial analysis, or remote sensing, or cartographic design, or geospatial big data management, or a specific application domain? So understand your kind of interest will guide you towards the research areas that aligns your passions. Number two, also Mariam mentioned about the literature review. So I'm going to, like, again, you have to do homework, So what as my research is on climatic and environmental hazards using geospatial approach. So my professor like suggested me to read all of the related, when I just meet with him, like, okay, so this is the first semester I'm going to start my PhD. So what the things I need to do to, finalize my direction. So he was kind of surprised, like, you are going to finalize your directions now? I thought, okay, let's try at least not finalize. So he told me, okay, number one job you have to do, like read all of the related published articles from International Journal of Geographic Information Science, like IJGIS, because as you are going to do kind of relevant research, so finish all of the articles which are relevant on kind of climatic or environmental hazards. So, though this is a time-consuming thing, but it's helped me a lot, at least to decide the initial phase of my research direction. Thirdly, I think, like already Mariam mentioned lots of the things. I think another important aspect is to seek advice and guidance, because we are just going to start from after our undergrad or master's degree. So we have some limited kind of knowledge in terms of particular direction area. So in that case, like what I did, like reach out my professors or reach out to your advisors or professionals in the field for advice and guidance. So kind of discuss your interests with them, share your thoughts on potential research directions if it is not something which is very sensitive, and seek their particular input. They can offer some cases, because I usually conduct with the department seniors or like whom I feel that okay, he can guide me in a very good way. So and I think that their insights based on their experiences and expertise, it's helped me a lot to refine my research focus and identify the potential areas for exploration. Another important thing I think that to choose your research direction is to consider the societal impact and relevance. So consider the societal impact and relevance of different research directions. Think about how your research can contribute to addressing real world challenges or advancing the field of, let's say, GIS or cartography. I think assess the potential implications and applications of your research in various domains, such as, let's say, considering my research, let's say environmental management, then urban planning, public health, or transportation. So aligning your research with broader societal needs can provide a sense of purpose. And again, what Mariam says, the motivation, the most important thing. Then I think the another important thing is the evaluate available resources. As I am from Bangladesh, so this is the important thing, like I would like to consider, because we are right now in US or in developing countries, you can have the access of the various data. But in terms of developing countries or less developed countries, this is one of the very, very pressing issues, that you are going to do something, but there is no available data. So that is my another, like I consider, like, evaluate the available resources, assess the resources available to you, including the funding opportunities, like how long you are going to sustain, data sources, then technological tools and collaborations. So consider whether the research direction you are considering aligns with the resources and support available to you. And also you have to consider the, the feasibility of your research. Either you are going to achieve the things within your 3 years or 4 years or 5 years of time spent. Then I would like to talk about a little bit what already Gareth and Anissa mentioned, that be flexible and open to evolving. Keep in mind that research directions can evolve over time. So as you delve deeper into your studies and gain more knowledge and experience, your interest and perspectives may change. What happened with me, like initially during my first year, I thought something, but second year, the direction changed almost 180 degrees. So remain open to new ideas, kind of emerging technologies and interdisciplinary collaboration that can shape and refine your research directions. Finally, I can say we have to remember that choosing a research direction is a personal journey, and there is no one size fits all approach. So we need to take the time to explore our interests, seek guidance, and consider various factors before committing to a specific research directions. So my suggestion would be embrace the process of discovery and be willing to adapt as you gain new insights and opportunities along the way of your research. Yeah, that's what I think I can add. All other things I think already mentioned by Mariam, also Anissa, and also Gareth. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.